Shalom from Keren B'Yavne. In this week's Torah reading, HaKadosh Baruch Hu continues to show his love for the Jewish people by discussing the construction of the Mishkan at length, the Mishkan itself, and the Bigdei Kehuna. I'd like to focus on one aspect of the Mishkan, on the Bigdei Kehuna, particularly on the Choshen Mishpat that Aharon HaKohen wore. Rashi points out in Sefer Shmos, in Parshas Shmos, Rashi points out that which Aaron was zocheh to the Choshen Mishpat al libo is based on that which the Torah tells us, v'ra'acha v'samach b'libo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu that when Aaron finds out about the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu was appointed to the position of leadership, then Aaron, rather than being jealous, and he had all the reasons in the world to be jealous, he was older, he was already a Navi, as Rashi indicates, and he was already a leader of the Jewish people in Egypt. Nevertheless, Aaron was not jealous, and he was happy for Moshe Rabbeinu. So, b'zchut v'ra'acha v'samach b'libo, Aaron was zoche for the Choshen Mishpat al libo. What's the connection between the Vayakhel v'samach b'libo on one hand and the Choshen Mishpat al libo on the other? So I thought that one might explain that Chazal, which Rashi is quoting, in the following fashion. The Gemara in Masechet Makot, Daf Yud Aleph, tells us that the halacha is, as we know, that when the Kohen Gadol would die, then those people that killed b'shogeg would leave the Ir Miklat. And the Gemara, the Mishnah relates that the mothers of the Kohanim Gedolim would provide food to the individuals, the Rotzchim Shogeg and the Ir Miklat, so as to encourage those Rotzchim Shogeg that should not daven for the death of their son, shouldn't daven for the death of the Kohen Gadol. And the Gemara there indicates that in a certain sense, the Kohen Gadol had some responsibility for that which there were individuals that killed b'shogeg. Why was it his responsibility? What did he do? So the Gemara says that the Kohen Gadol was meant to daven for his generation. Along similar lines, the Gemara relates that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, generally speaking, had a Gilui Eliyahu Hanavi, but nevertheless, when there was some individual that was devoured by a lion within somewhat of a proximity to where Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi lived, and for a number of days, Eliyahu Hanavi didn't appear to Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. The implication being that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi bore some responsibility for that tragedy of the fellow being killed by a lion, because apparently he was meant to daven for the welfare of all those around him. So we see the Gemara indicates that the Kohen Gadol's job, when he wore the Choshen Mishpat, when it says that he had the names of the Shvatim on his breastplate, that's not simply the act of having those names on his heart. Rather, he was meant to have a heart for the Jewish people. He's meant to have a feeling, a sensitivity for the Jewish people. He was meant to bear and share the pain and the joy of the Jewish people. Aaron, who was happy at the Gedulah of Moshe Rabbeinu, he was an individual that was able to share and bear the joy of others and certainly also the pain of others. Aaron HaKohen's neshama was a very great neshama, a neshama that had sensitivity not only for himself but also for others as well. Such an individual was fit to wear the Choshen Mishpat al libo, to bear and share the pain and the joy, the feelings, all the issues of the rest of the Jewish people on his heart. This week was the Yahrzeit of Rav Shlomo Zalman Arbach. Of course, being able to share the feelings, being able to be sensitive for the feelings of Jewish people, that's something which is characteristic of all Gadolei Yisrael. But since this week was the Yahrzeit of Rav Shlomo Zalman, so maybe we'll mention a couple of brief anecdotes which indicated his great sensitivity. Towards the end of his life, when he was somewhat sick, at some point he felt too weak to go to slichos, even at Rosh Hashanah. But nevertheless, he did make the effort. There were individuals that he would visit on a regular basis to strengthen them, individuals that didn't have family, and would go and he would strengthen them on Erev Rosh Hashanah. And even that year, he went to visit them. Even though it involved a great amount of effort, climbing 4 flights of steps, which certainly wasn't easy for him. And when asked why he did have the strength to visit those individuals, even though he didn't have the strength to go to slichos, his response was that to go to slichos, that's between me and God. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what sorry shape I'm in. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that for me, it would be very difficult. But when it comes to visiting those individuals, they wouldn't necessarily know why I'm not visiting them. They wouldn't be able to perhaps fully appreciate that I'm not visiting them because of my medical condition. They would feel bad for all of Rosh Hashanah that they're missing out on my visit. So I saw my responsibility to visit them despite my situation. Another anecdote that's related with respect to Rav Shlomo Zalman that shows his sensitivity and his feelings for others is once a couple that was Choser B'Tshuva. And one issue that they had is that the woman was not willing, or she felt that she just couldn't bring herself to cover her hair. And she felt that perhaps it's something which she didn't need to do. The husband felt otherwise. They decided they would go and ask Rav Shlomo Zalman. So the woman goes, she asks Rav Shlomo Zalman, she comes back. Her husband says, right, he told you you have to cover your hair. The husband says, nope, didn't say that. So what do you mean? He told you that you don't have to cover your hair? Didn't say that either. So what did he say? So the woman says, well, he didn't issue a psak. He told me it's very difficult. I understand that for a woman who's not used to it, to cover her hair is just so difficult. It's just so hard. It's part of her identity. Such a difficult thing to do. That's all he said. A couple of weeks later, the woman started covering her hair. Of course, the point is, Rav Shlomo Zalman, he indicated that he felt for the woman. He understood it's very difficult. And when the woman realized that the psak halacha wasn't issued without a sensitivity, without the realization of the difficulty of that halacha, she was able to accept it. Certainly, now in our times, the need for sensitivity of the rest of Jewish people is so great. When we go into the miklat, when the siren sounds, and throughout the day, but especially at those times, we should be davening. There are Jews in sakana. If it's not here, somewhere else in Eretz Yisrael. We should daven and realize that our mitzvos, our Torah learning, our growth in Avodas Hashem is something which is important not only for us, but also for the rest of the Jewish people as well. Shabbat Shalom.